you ever had this feeling that something is happening in other people's lives, but not necessarily yours? It's like maybe you're a part of a friend group, right? And everybody was single when you first started hanging out, but then everybody met their person except you. And so you're wondering, like, when's it my turn? What's going to happen? Or maybe you have people in your life or in your family who are getting jobs and buying houses and expanding their businesses and things like that, but you're kind of looking at your life going, what is happening? It's like FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Where you have this keen awareness or sense that there is stuff happening in other people's lives, but not necessarily yours. I think social media is super good at this because we log on to social media and immediately see all of the very top highlights of all of the best people. And when we follow all the influencers and things like that, like they're the top of the top of the top of the top who have that extravagant life, and we see and we sense that something's happening in their lives, but why not ours? And have you ever had that feeling where it's like, I don't necessarily need it now, right? You know, you're okay with putting in the work and you're putting in the time, but you would like there to be a sign of some sort, right? You want to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that you're going the right direction. And I feel like that's a lot of us. I feel like that's me most of the time. Even this week, I am very much in that mentality of I wonder what's going to happen. I wish I could just get a sign. And when I think of that, what comes to mind is a story of Moses in the Old Testament where Moses sees a burning bush. And this is Exodus 3, so I'm just going to read a couple of verses for you. Now Moses, when tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he was tending the flock, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness, which is basically to the middle of nowhere, and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why this bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Now, I think we all want a burning bush. We want to have that miracle or that fire where we can get a sense, a keen awareness of, okay, we're on the right direction, or this is what's going to change, or this is how it's going to happen. And I think we really want to experience that. We see it happen in other people's lives, but not always ours. However, it never tells us when the bush actually takes flame. It says, when the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush. See, is it possible that Moses had been walking past burning bush after burning bush, but didn't hear the voice of God until he paused and noticed and went over to this bush? Are you in your life walking past burning flames every single day, right? Wondering, when is this going to happen? When is something new going to happen? How is this going to work out in my life? I see it happen in theirs, but when's it going to happen for me? And as a single guy who's 35, I struggle with this daily. I struggle with this all the time where I'm like, okay, I have to stay focused, but I'm not really sure how to do this. And I'm wondering how many times we've walked past burning bush after burning bush, and there's fires that happen all around us. And the reason why we haven't quite seen them is because we've never taken a moment to notice them and walk over and explore them. See, I want us to be a people who can see the burning bush. I want us to be the people that can recognize that the fire is within us and it's inside of us, but it's also all around us inside of others, so that when we see that burning bush and we have that conversation with that person, we're interested and bold enough to say, I want to see why. I want to see what's so unique about this person, because there are fires in every single aspect of our life, whether it's our job, whether it's our friendships, whether it's our family. There are burning bushes that point us in that direction and give us the sign that we're looking for. And I say sign in quotes because I think that we need it. We're directional beings. We need those signs to know that we are on the right track. So what I want to do today is I want to mess with something that you experience every single week without fail for your entire life. And you've done it so far, but you probably haven't really experienced it. And so I want to mess with it. I want to mess with Mondays, if that's okay, with your permission. Because back in 2015, I heard a speaker speak this same conversation, and it wrecked my view of something so ordinary as Mondays. And Mondays changed in my brain, and I've never been able to look at Mondays the same way since. So with your permission, I would like to mess with your Mondays, if you would allow me to. Because originally, Monday, the origin of it was actually known as Moon Day. And the moon was a way of basically determining the months and the transition of months. So a new moon would be where there's no moon in the sky, and it would be the beginning of the month. And then you have a full moon, which is like 2 weeks later. And it goes through those cycles. So in the marketplace, Monday or Moon Day was the representation of the start, the beginning of the week. So the first day. And of course, it would be nice if it was just named like 1, 2, 3, right? Tuesday is kind of already Tuesday, but it's not. So it's Moon Day. And the reason why I want to mess with this is because how incredibly wild is it that the moon is so powerful that it will actually move oceans, and it will impact the weather in the way that things move, and it'll impact tides and how the ocean currents move by the movement of the moon, which it's fascinating to me because as I've looked at this and as I've mulled over this for years, this talk has wrecked my Mondays. Is I've recognized that there is a rhythm in our lives, and there is this fire that's burning, and it only takes a moment, but if we notice it and walk over, we can begin to see this rhythm of our lives in our daily lives. And so that's what I want to have this conversation around over the next few weeks. We're going to be talking about the days of the week. And we're starting with Monday or Moon Day because I think it's so important that we learn what that process looks like. So Mondays are the day where we begin again. So we begin again because Monday is representation of the beginning, right? And at the beginning of this episode, I had this whole conversation portion of whether you've experienced FOMO. And I think we've all experienced some form of transformation, or we've watched people go through transformation, and we have that FOMO or fear of missing out where it's like they change, but you haven't changed. And it's like, wait, hold on. Something's going on here that's different. I had a friend of mine who they decided they were never going to drink again, and they just stopped drinking. And one of the first things that I noticed was that they got happier, like very happy. And then I noticed that they started being a lot more energetic and just more fun. And through the weekends, they started waking up earlier. And it really inspired me to do that as well. But they just went through this transformation, and all of a sudden they're eating super healthy. And then they were like, you know what, we're going to go ahead and try this out because I'm really enjoying it. And they inspired me eventually to get to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to stop drinking for 3 months. I didn't drink for 3 months, started recognizing that transformation, and was like, this is incredible. I love life without consistent alcohol. I still drink, but not nearly as much as I used to. But it was just like, wow, this transformation's incredible. And then they got really fit because they're not drinking and they're sleeping really good. And so it inspired me to get really fit. And sometimes we need those friends who go through the transformation to help us, to help guide us the way we should go in, and seeing that, one, it's possible. And then two, seeing how to necessarily tweak it for ourselves and have accountability and be able to keep moving forward with it. See, I feel like there are other people, though, who go through a transformation and they, or you go through a transformation and they don't. And then it's hard to be around them because it's like if you are a group of friends that always goes out and drinks and this kind of happened with me a little bit, where I started, hanging out with people who they drank a lot. And so as soon as I stopped drinking, they kept drinking. So every time I'd come around, they'd be like, okay, we're going to go ahead and start drinking, or we're going to do this on Friday night. And I would just kind of hop back in because, I wanted to hang out with the crew. And then eventually I got to this point where I was like, I don't really want to do this. And it felt like they were kind of pulling me back in, and it was difficult, but it was almost as if I went through this transformation and they didn't want me to, because they didn't want to go through that change. So I changed, but they didn't want to. So I had to keep moving forward, and eventually leave them wherever they are until they want to, but I'm going to continue moving forward. In the same way, I've had other people who have gone through transformations, and I was the person who was like, oh, it's just one cookie. It's like, no, I'm not going to eat processed foods or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's just one cookie though. Like, it's just one. And I'm impacting their transformation because they've transformed. And it's almost like a caterpillar and a butterfly, right? It's almost as if you've seen a caterpillar and then it goes through a transformation in the cocoon, pops out with wings and looks like a beautiful butterfly, but then the butterfly doesn't go hang out with the caterpillars. So sometimes when you go through a transformation, it also means that in order to continue to grow, you actually have to go around other butterflies now. So maybe you've gone through a transformation where you've stopped drinking, or maybe you've started going to bed earlier and you don't want to stay up late anymore. And maybe you don't want to go out and do the things that you used to be doing. And so you kind of have this argument with yourself. And some people will call it the lonely chapter, where you've outgrown your current friends, but you haven't made your new friends yet. So you're just kind of floating around as a lonely butterfly. But I've noticed that we often will do this, right? We try to tear off the wings of others so they fit in with people like us that haven't transformed yet. Whenever we get around somebody who's transformed, we're the caterpillars that we see them turn into butterflies, and then we just want to tear their wings off so they have to crawl around with us still. We don't actually let them fly and experience life and meet the people who they're supposed to meet. See, there's a few verses in the Bible that really have impacted me in the way that I look at Mondays. And Mondays are synonymous with these verses. Whenever I read these verses, I think of Monday, and whenever a Monday happens, I think of these verses. See, 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone, the new is here." A transformation has taken place. You are no longer that old self. It's sometimes scary, because if you've ever gone through a transformation, like a diet or drinking or exercise or things like that, like, how easy it is to go back into your comfort of your old self. I mean, I used to love junk food. I absolutely used to love junk food. And I know every time I see junk food, I could easily tear a bag of Doritos and just eat the entire thing in one sitting. I could easily sit down and have a half of a cake from Costco. I can easily do those things, and I know it's not healthy for me, but I don't want to go back there. I can easily start staying up till 3 a.m. again, even though I know it would absolutely wreck me. But I don't want to do that. And I don't want to mess with my sleep patterns. I don't want to mess with my sleep schedule. I don't want to mess with my diet, because I'm happier now. I'm healthier now. I'm more excited about life now. So I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to start drinking alcohol often, because I know how easy it is to jump into that, where I start having, maybe a glass of wine a night. And then from there, it's 2 glasses of wine a night. And then from there, it's 3 glasses of wine a night, or it's a couple beers here and a couple beers here and a mixed drink here. And I don't want to do that, because I have a good, healthy respect right now. And I have to remember that the old is gone and the new is here. And Mondays are our reminder to begin again. It's our reminder that it's a lunar reminder with Moon Day that we have the ability to begin again. So every single Monday is that opportunity for you to say, you know what? I don't care what happened this weekend. I don't care what happened last week. Today is the day that I begin again. I love what Revelation 21:5, and if you haven't read Revelation, everything in Revelation is just wild and insane, but it's incredible. But Revelation 21:5 says, and he who was seated on the throne said, behold, I am making all things new. Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Whether you believe in God or not, that's not my prerogative here. But I believe that we are being made new every single day. Whether you believe in God or not, you have the choice to impact your future by choosing to begin again. So if you've had a really messed up Saturday or a really messed up Sunday, and you come along Monday, no longer will you look at Monday as, Monday. I don't want to go back to work. Now you will look at Monday and say, today is my opportunity to begin again. It's our opportunity to step into the new that we want to be, that we have to be, that we're fighting to be in. So whether you're in a relationship and you've gone through some arguments, let Mondays be a reminder where every Monday you look at your girlfriend or boyfriend or a spouse and you say, today's the day where we begin again. We start fresh. We continue to move forward by just beginning again. As a lunar reminder, let Monday or Moon Day be that reminder to you where every single day, you get 52 Mondays a year. You get 52 of them. So every single Monday, I hope that you will take this moment of just a simple pause. I would challenge you to do 2 to 3 minutes of meditation in the shower, because they say showers are 2% soap and water and 98% making life choices. But I just challenge you, meditate on beginning again every single Monday. That's going to do it for this conversation. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation, because we're going to be breaking down all the rest of the days of the week over the next few podcasts. I am so thankful for all of you who listen. I hope you have a wonderful week, and remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.